Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. I'm Samuel, your maths tutor. I'll be using this channel to teach various mathematics topics across various levels of education. So those in the primary school, those in the secondary school, those in the A level, this channel will be good for you because I'll be teaching mathematics topics across these levels. And I'll also be solving mathematics class questions across these levels. So if you are new to this channel, I will encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Also like and share my videos to friends and relatives. Hit the notification bell so that you'll be the first person to receive any mathematics video I'll post. Now today, what are we looking at? We are looking at how we can use the factoring method to solve quadratic equation. From our previous video, I did how we can use the quadratic formula as well as how we can use the completing the square method to solve quadratic equation. So if you have not seen that video yet, try and then look for it, you'll see it. Good. But for today, we are looking at another method of solving quadratic equation, and that is the factoring method. Factoring method. So let's take one example and see how we can use the factoring method to solve quadratic equation. So solve the quadratic equation. Solve the quadratic equation. 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 equal to 0. 2x squared plus 5x plus 2 equal to 0. How do you use the factoring method to solve this quadratic equation? Now, in using factoring method to solve quadratic equation, the quadratic equation given to us, we have 3 terms at the left side of the equal to sign. And it becomes very difficult to use the factoring method to solve this equation when we have these 3 terms here, unless we change from the 3 terms to 4 terms. So using factoring method to solve quadratic equation, we must change that quadratic trinomial at one side of the equal to sign to 4 terms. So when we change it to 4 terms, then it becomes easier to solve. Good. So how do you change these 3 terms, 1, 2, 3 terms to 4 terms to be able to solve this quadratic equation using factoring method? Good. Now that's how we can change the 3 terms to 4 terms. Now the first thing to do is to multiply the coefficient of the x squared by the constant. Multiply the coefficient of the x squared by the constant. What is the coefficient of x squared? It's 2. And what is our constant in the equation? That is also 2. So we multiply both. Coefficient of x squared, the constant, multiply them. What do you get? 4. Now, what do you do with this product that we are getting? Now, having finished multiplying the coefficient of x squared by the constant to get a product, the next thing to do is to find the factors of that product you are getting. So you're going to find factors of 4. Now, finding the factors, we look at both the positive factors and then the negative factors. For the benefit of this method, we need to look for both the positive factors and the negative factors. Once we get the positive factors, we're able to get the negative factors as well. And what do we do with these factors? After finding factors of the product, what do we do with it? Now, the factors of 4 that we are going to find, Or let's even first finish finding the factors of 4 before we continue from there. So factors of 4. Factors of 4. We're going to have 1, 2, 4. These are the positive factors. Let's also add the negative factors to it. Negative factors, -1, -2, -4. So these are the factors of 4. Good. So to get the negative ones, just first get the positive factors of the number or the product, and then you take their corresponding negative values, and that will be the negative factors as well. Now, having finished finding the factors of 4, what do we do with these factors of 4? Now, we are going to pick 2 of these factors. Having finished finding the factors, pick 2 of them. Now, these 2 factors you are picking from the factors we have. These 2 factors must satisfy 2 conditions. It must satisfy 2 conditions. And what are the conditions? The 2 factors you are going to pick from here, when you add the 2 factors, it should give you the coefficient of s squared, which is 5. And then the 2 factors we are picking, the same 2 factors, when you multiply them, when you multiply the 2 factors, it should give you this product, that is a 4. So any of the 2 factors here that can satisfy the 2 conditions, that is what we are going to pick. So let's look through which 2 of the factors here will satisfy both conditions. Adding up will give you coefficient of s squared, which is 5, and multiplying will give you 4, positive 4. Obviously, you agree with me that the 2 factors will be 1 and 4. The 2 factors will be positive 1 and positive 4. Why? Because when we add positive 1 and positive 4, it gives the coefficient of x, which is positive 5. And when you multiply 1 and 4, it gives the product, that is 4. So we have been able to get the 2 factors out of the numerous factors you have over there to satisfy both conditions. Good. So always have it in mind that after finding the factors of the product, the 2 factors you pick must always satisfy both conditions at the same time. You satisfy both conditions at the same time. Now, so having finished getting the 2 factors, what do you do with the 2 factors now? Now, these 2 factors are going to help us to change these 3 terms to 4 terms. So how do you use the 2 factors to change the 3 terms to 4 terms? Now, we are going to take off the coefficient of x, that's a 5, and then replace it with the 2 factors. So we take off 5, replace it with what? 1 and 4. But because the coefficient of x, the number 5 is attached with x, and then we are replacing both numbers with this one, we are going to attach the x to each of the 2 numbers, because the 5 that is replaced is attached with x. So we also attach the 2 factors with s. So that's going to give us 2s squared plus, this is positive 1. So plus 1, we attach x. Then the other one is also positive 4, that is plus 4. We also attach x. Good. So these 2 numbers, 1 and 4, are replacing the 5. Now, we have not changed anything. We've not changed the equation. Yes, we've not changed the equation. Yeah, but we can say we've written it in another way that will make it much easier for us to solve for the equation. Yeah, we have not changed it because the 1s and the 4s will still give you 5s. So we have not changed the equation, but it's written in another form. That's what we need to have. Then you bring your constant 2 equal to 0. Good. So that is how we change 3 terms to 4 terms using the factoring method. Now, whenever the coefficient of a variable is 1, as mathematicians, we don't write it, right? Good. So we need to erase or clean this one. If the coefficient of a variable is 1, we don't write it. But we know that the coefficient is 1. Now, at this point, what do we do next? Having changed from 3 terms to 4 terms, the next thing to do is to factorize. We factorize the first 2 terms, and I also factorize the last 2 terms. That is why we are saying that the method we are using is factoring. Why? Because you need to factorize at some point. You need to factorize an expression at some point. That is why it's called factoring. Now, how do you factorize these 2 terms? 2x squared plus x. How do you factorize this? You bring the common factor out. So x is here, x is there, x will be out. Open a bracket. Now, what you multiply by x to give this 2x squared, that will be 2x. Bring your plus here. What you multiply by this x to give this x, that will be 1. So we are done factorizing these first 2 terms. Now let's also factorize these last 2 terms here. We look for the common factor between 4x and then 2. Obviously, 2 is a factor of itself and 2 is a factor of 4. So the common factor is positive 2 will come out. Then what we multiply by 2 to give 4x, that is 2x. Then what we multiply by 2 to give 2, that is 1, positive 1. And that's equal to 0. So we have this term and then we have this term. Now, among these 2 terms, there's still a common factor between the 2 terms that can also be factored out. At this point, we have 2s plus 1, we have 2s plus 1 here between both terms. So we can factor 2s plus 1 out here. Then when 2s plus 1 is factored out from this term, what will be left there? We have x here. What of this one? If we factor this one out, what is left there? Plus 2. And the whole expression is equal to 0. Good. Now we have product. Product of 2 brackets all equal to 0. This times that equal to 0. What it implies that each of the brackets is equal to 0. So pick each bracket equal to 0 and then solve for x. Don't forget the equation is quadratic. So at the end of the day, after solving for the equation, we should get 2 values of x because it's quadratic. So these 2 brackets are going to give us the 2 values of x. So first one, this implies that the first bracket, which is 2s plus 1 is equal to 0. Then we solve for x. Take 1 here, so 2s equal to minus 1 is plus, it comes here, it becomes minus. Then, how do you solve for x at this point? Divide 2 by the coefficient of x. This will cancel that. Then we have x equal to minus half. Then this also implies that the second bracket, which is s plus 2 is also equal to 0. Then s equal to minus 2. So we have been able to solve for the 2 values of x, s equal to minus half, s equal to minus 2. This is how we use the factoring method to solve quadratic equation. Good. So that is that for this one. I hope you love this method too.